Hi, Chris Picuro here, teaching tax flow. Today, we're going to do our White House walkthrough for Vice President Harris's tax return. We do have access to the 2020 return. The 2022 return seems to be posted, but the link is not working. But really want to look at that 2022 federal tax return for Vice President Harris. Let me bring that return over for you. And we're looking at married filing jointly with their husband. Real straightforward here. And when we take a look at her income, interesting here, obviously they are having the $3 put towards the presidential election campaign. Most people do not do that. Doesn't affect your refund at all. She's not involved with any type of cryptocurrency. And wages here, $156,000. So those are those W-2 wages coming through from the government. But you can see the vast majority of Vice President Harris's income, $1.7 million, is coming from other income. We're going to dive into that in just a moment. She does have some interest income, which here is $8,400, but no dividends and no capital gains. So I, again, find that very interesting. She does have some standard or itemized deductions as well. Taxable income here, or rather, taxable income is about $1.6 million for her and her husband. Her total income tax here, including self-employment tax, is $622,000, just a hair under that. Had a bunch of... had some rather W-2 withholding, and then made estimated tax payments of $565,000 on the federal side of things. She did, unfortunately, have a balance due of about $34,500. And now, if you remember, the 2020 tax return deadline got bumped to May 15th, 2022. So they did not have to file an extension, and the return was done during the normal tax filing time. Although, as you know, if you follow Teaching Tax Flow, we're a big fan of tax extensions. Taking a look at that income, she has those W-2 wages, about $293,000 of self-employment income, $1.4 million coming from a K-1. You could see that she is contributing to some type of retirement plan, either a SEP, solo K plan, or some type of tax-deferred plan, about $123,000 here. Did pay some self-employed health insurance. Now, these numbers here could be coming from what are called a K-1. We're going to take a look at that in just a moment. Something interesting when we look at Vice President Harris and her husband's tax return, they did have a household employee. That means that they hired someone to help out with household duties, that they would issue a W-2 to that person, and then all of that tax withholding and self-employment tax really flows through that personal return, and that's this $4,700 here. She's getting hit with that Medicare surtax. And so as well. We're going to scroll down. They did do some income averaging. So obviously they had a $34,000 balance due. What you can do is if you have a big balance due, yet you did quarterly estimated tax payments and you have some seasonality to your income, you can report that on what's called a Form 2210 to avoid any type of late filing penalty. That's something that we do in our private practice quite often. So itemized deductions, unfortunately, for the vice president, they paid $280,000 of state income tax and local income tax, only $10,000 is deductible. They do have about $28,000 worth of mortgage interest, and they do have $27,000 worth of donations. So all that adds up to $65,600. So it's better for them to itemize their deductions instead of take the standard deduction. Here is the interest. Looks like they bank at Wells Fargo, and they do have some interest in income coming from this K-1. The last thing I'm really going to touch on is that K-1. Vice President Harris does have a good amount of income. She's a very successful writer, so she does have about $300,000 of net income from writing. So you could see there. Interestingly enough, she just does pay $52,000 worth of commission and fees, but did not report any type of 1099s needed to be issued. So just an interesting observation. Usually when you have that much, you have some 1099s, but obviously she doesn't. Again, very odd that someone with this amount of income would not have much capital gains or dividends, but obviously just saying that that's odd. Now, $1.4 million of her income is coming from partnerships. And these partnerships you're looking at right here, DLA Piper and Venable, we did take a peek at them. They are law firms. And so she is, I believe, a partner in those law firms, or maybe it's her husband, but that income is coming through as a partner. Now, we did look at the websites for both of these law firms. She wasn't listed as obviously she has very important duties as the vice president, but as you can see, $1.4 million of income are flowing through these K-1s. What we do know, these K-1s are from law firms as a partner of a law firm. So that's about it on the return This is really straightforward as far as self-employment tax. Last thing I wanted to point out, we're not going to dive into the state returns at this point, but I always find it interesting of what people list as their occupation. Obviously, very prestigious. Vice President Harris says she reports as a vice president, and that her husband is an attorney. So those K1s could very well be from her husband as being a partner in the law firm. So, all right, that's the White House walkthrough of the Vice President Harris and her husband's tax return. Thanks for watching.